Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this from John Squire. CZ drops the bomb. What if what we're seeing so far wasn't the real bull run? The true bull market might be about to begin, and XRP is built for it. I've been saying this for a while now. I think what we've seen so far for XRP was just a correction back in November. I still think the best part of this run, this cycle, is ahead of us. I think we are going to see an absolutely epic blast off for XRP. And I'm telling you, you got to be here for that. Don't get shaken out by this market. Don't let other people shake you out. I see so many naysayers whenever the price of XRP dips. Those people are either overinvested or just frustrated and way too emotional. Stay positive because ahead is the exciting times. The worst of what we've been through is behind us now. Remember 2022, 2023, and most of 2024 during the crypto crackdown and FTX collapsing out? It seemed like crypto was just not going to catch a break. Then all of a sudden the election came and this entire market turned around. But I still think that was just a correction on the price of XRP. I think we have a long way to go. People don't realize how little XRP is left. Ripple escrow, 37.3 billion XRP, 37.3%. Ripple liquid, 3.5 billion, 3.5%. Chris Larson, 2.3 billion, 2.3%. Arthur Brito, 1.3%. That's nearly 44.4% of supply already accounted for. And then you have to look at the institutions. Purpose ETF already holds 29.6 million XRP. 3IQ holds another 45 million XRP. The best part, these are small firms, not trillion-dollar giants. Retail, maybe 15% of the total supply at best. When JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Goldman enter, billions more XRP vanish into cold storage. For the record, XRP is at $2.91 right now. That's when he posted this. He will come back to re-quote this. I think what we're witnessing is BlackRock is acquiring behind the scenes. JP Morgan acquiring behind the scenes. Same thing with Goldman Sachs and others. I think we are going to see scarcity quicker than people think. Look at the companies that are creating XRP treasuries. And again, they're not very big companies either. Wait until the really big companies start creating XRP treasuries. Start utilizing XRP for cross-border payments. Once one gets on board, it will set off a network effect. All of a sudden, every single retail giant, every single big financial institution will want to be holding this cryptocurrency because it solves a real-world problem. Breaking, Managing Director at Ripple, Casey Craddock, says Ripple is well placed to leverage its strong transatlantic footprint to drive U.S. to U.K. tech innovation and collaboration by supporting blockchain adoption in the UK. You see what's going on already. You see where Ripple's going. You see where XRP is going. I mean, come on. We just had the president. We had the treasurer, Scott Bessent, over in the UK. Ripple was there as well. Ripple also met with the Treasury here in the United States. Ripple does not go and meet at these big roundtable meetings for no reason. Everything that's happening right now is all about infrastructure, setting up rails between the US and the UK. I'm sure the rails between the EU and the US have been set up a long time ago. Everything is getting put in place for the rise of the new financial system. And the fact that Ripple is in these positions, being placed in these at these roundtables, you don't need to know anything more. You already see XRP as the future. What if Swift updated to compete with blockchain transaction speeds? Ripple co-founder Chris Larsen tackles an important question on XRP. So what this kid asked was, what happens if Swift was to do a major update so that they can compete with Ripple? This is how Chris Larsen answered this question.
Days within the system, because they know that's how you're going to have impact. So that's kind of the way we see it. Your question about Swift, by the way, the problem with that point of view is Swift only deals with the data. They have a correspondent banking partner that deals with the value, and that's off any sense of an Internet of Value. The whole point here is that something like Interledger and XRP can eliminate the correspondent, which is actually where all the juice is, right? That's where all the waste is. That's where the settlement risk is. That's where the failures are. That's where the time is. So Swift actually doesn't have the combination of capabilities to do what you're saying.
Swift cannot compete with RippleNet or XRP. Like Chris Larsen just said, Swift only deals with the data. And what did they do? They partnered with Chainlink so that they could send that data over for Chainlink to deal with. They're going to send over the settlement to Ripple so that Ripple could deal with the settlement process. All Swift really does is handle messages. Now, what Ripple does is they are both processing and settlement. In other words, they could handle the entire process without outsourcing it to someone else. But that's why Chainlink and Ripple are not competing either. Two totally different use cases. Nearly 3 in 4 crypto holders in America want the U.S. to lead in digital assets. They see how crypto enables lower costs, more transparency, and faster systems. If you could pick only one, which one matters the most to you? Most people would say it's the lower cost. Think about it. We are still fighting off inflation. Most people are working 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet. So most people would just say if they could lower the cost, I wouldn't really care about the faster systems so much as the cost. And transparency, you want to make sure that when you're sending a payment, the payment's actually going through. You also want that transparency because you want to know what's going on during the entire process. But I think most people would still choose the lower cost. And that's one thing that crypto does. It cuts out all the middlemen. Big moves incoming. Trump's gold reserve eyeing XRP to tokenize gold. Physical gold meets blockchain speed. Real-world value flowing through the XRP ledger. This isn't just adoption. It's a new financial era. Take a listen to this. He also says that gold can become money.
The U.S. is working on this right now, and I would tend to agree that that's probably it's at least an idea that's being floated as, hey, how do we get rid of $35 trillion in U.S. denominated debt and move it on to something else? And frankly, using a tokenized real world asset and making gold money again, gold could be made money as easily as a CBDC could. Right. So if
you look at Pax Gold or XAUT, any one of those could be directly and that's tokenized. But again, you're talking about Tether, that's a different thing. Versus
that's a weirder trust model. What I think will happen is if you can get the really old people involved, if you can get like Lloyd's and the real ones, but really get like Brinks and StoneX and some of these companies that, hey, we've been around for 700 years and never had a stolen
tokenized gold.
Precisely. Yeah. That allows them to say, look, we get constant audits and attestations. You know how much gold is here. And then it allows you to essentially transact in a sub-cent of gold because you can tokenize down to whatever you need it to be, which actually is bad news for silver, by the way.
So we already know they're working on tokenizing gold. I don't think gold will become the future money. I think they will back a digital dollar with gold, because if you have a gold-backed digital dollar, it's definitely going to be superior to the dollar we have today. I mean, I had to laugh at that because the dollar we have right now, it consistently loses value. I mean, you could put money into savings, and if you let it sit there for a few years, it's actually going to lose more and more value along the way. So tokenized gold, the reason that a lot of people don't like the idea of this is because then the gold becomes digital. So what does that do to their precious Bitcoin? It makes it more irrelevant. And we're going to see tokenized gold flowing across the XRP ledger. That is going to happen. We're also going to see gold-backed currencies flowing across the XRP ledger as well. Because what's China trying to do? They want to come up with the gold-backed currency. Why do you think all these central banks have been buying up all this gold over the last few years? Because they're going to make sure that we go back to an asset-backed system. No more petroleum dollar. No more dollar that continues to lose value along the way. And I think that China looks at it like this. If they have a gold-backed currency in the BRICS, that would be superior to the current US dollar. And this was a great post. So September 2022, or September 22nd, 2025, a Ripple announcement that will live in history. 5,000 XRP, $15,000 locked in XRP ledger, DeFi, could easily make you a millionaire with no risk over a 10-year period. So when I first saw this, I was like, okay, I get this. This is about putting your XRP to work for you. So here's the assumption. Initial XRP 5,000, current price $3, annual yield 5% paid monthly in RLUSD. XRP price growth 50%, compound annual growth rate. Time horizon 10 years. Results: gross interest paid out in RLUSD $106,596 over 10 years. This is cash flow you receive monthly based on rising value of your XRP as price appreciates. Final XRP token value. Future XRP price equals $173 per XRP. Value of 5,000 XRP at that price equals $864,976. So what he did here is he showed you how you're going to gain interest along the way. And that interest is going to accumulate 106K. But you never sold the initial 5,000 XRP. And now the price of XRP is $173. That means that XRP is now worth $864,976. That's how you can get generational wealth. Think about like this, okay? So say you were going to take the interest that you're gaining in RLUSD and you're reinvesting it back into XRP. All of a sudden, the final value is going to be a lot higher because XRP is going to continue to rise in value over time. And XRP is going to hit $173 way before 10 years. And most people are calling for $100 plus in this cycle. So even by 2028, I think the daily price on XRP by then is going to be well over $100. So instead of this happening over the course of 10 years, this could happen over the course of the next couple of years. But this is why it's so important not to sell your entire bag. Take some profit. There's nothing wrong with that. But then put the rest of that XRP to work for you without ever selling it. This also shows you that some people realize and they also calculate the market cap multiplier. Other people, they just want to ignore it. Take a listen.
And I do believe we could see 5 to 8 billion inflows in a month or just a few months. And we have to remember too that the market cap myth doesn't work on these assets because these assets have utility, and that's why they're not the same. And then that multiplier effect is just simply for the audience, how much money at any given time it takes to push through the buy and sell walls to move the price up.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. So
we are going to see that market cap multiplier play a very big factor in where the price of XRP goes during this run. Remember, it doesn't take a lot of money to move the price of XRP. And this comes from Vincent Scott. No tax means zero, not a deduction. They print the money. The idea of taxing it is a synonym anyway. Oh, asinine. Sorry. Well, what he's talking about is Scott Bessent said that no tax on tips is now tax on anything above $25,000 because you could take a $25,000 deduction every year. The reason I wanted to hit on this really quick is because I just talked about in a video them doing away with the tax on American-made cryptocurrencies. I think there would also be a limit to that. In other words, maybe it's a $100,000 deduction on your crypto earnings. In other words, if you were going to cash out and say you made $1 million off of your crypto, you would only pay the tax on $900,000 instead of the full $1 million. I'm sure that's the direction that would go in. But, you know, it's too early to say. But again, no tax on tips should mean absolutely no tax on tips. And Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong says, yes, we do want to become a super app. They want to create an app where people could just get rid of the banks. Take a listen.
Would you say that you have an ambition to become a super app and as you just said, replace the legacy banks?
Yes, we do want to become a super app and provide all types of financial services. We want to become people's primary financial account. And I think that crypto has a right to do that. These are just more modern, efficient rails that makes everything.
So Coinbase wants to replace the bank. I still trust the bank more than I trust Brian Armstrong. And that's just me. But where's all the XRP going? Why doesn't he tell us why the XRP is drying up on Coinbase? And the speculation, because right now everybody's speculating on this. It's going to BlackRock, it's going to JP Morgan, it's going to someone else. Everybody's buying up all the XRP through Coinbase. Why don't they put out an announcement where all this XRP is going? The other thing is, Coinbase always goes down whenever this market seems to take off. We've seen that when Bitcoin was achieving new all-time highs. Coinbase kept having downtime. And that's why whenever somebody says, I'm going to sell the absolute top, most people are never going to buy the absolute top. You might get close to buying the top. You might come very close to that. But usually whenever this market is seeing full-on euphoria, we see these exchanges experience some downtime. We're going to witness that over the next couple of months. But I think what we're going to witness is Ripple is going to become a bank. And us as XRP holders, we're going to become the branches of Bank of Ripple. That's what I see happening in the future. I anticipate that more now than ever before. And until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.